this is possibly the cheapest multi-tool you can get on Amazon, excluding some that I really don't like. It's the Fangfo. This has been reviewed a couple months ago by HBack Budget. He didn't like it, and rightly so, because it has a bunch of issues. One of them is, let's see, the paint quality. This just chipped with only after a few minutes of use, and also it has other things that a person would dislike. For example, the locks are very wobbly. However, I wanted to see how it's built and to see if it's actually functional, and the answer to that was yes. With this saw, for example, I was able to cut a 1x2. It's not the greatest saw because this is supposed to be very thin on the opposite side, and it's not that thin, so it has some difficulty cutting, but it has a functionality. The flathead, this is a very robust Phillips, which I think this could work even with somewhat large Phillips screws. Corkscrew, I don't really would use much myself. The knife is not is very similar to what you find in a lot of very low-end multi-tools, but as wobbly as the lock is, it still prevents it from folding back. The feeling of holding it is somewhat ergonomic, no hotspot, so it's a pretty comfortable handle because it has that folded metal. On the other hand, it's very minimalist. There's a lot of parts are made from the same piece of metal, which is a simplification. So it is an example of how to build something with very little technology. These logs have probably not very tight tolerances. These tools are not finished too much, like this has been stamped and probably painted right away without much processing. So it's an example of a very minimally made tool but still works, which I find fascinating. I don't think I will recommend it. If I had to recommend a tool, I would recommend you to get a Victorinox, because this is has more tools, it's more lightweight. See, 7 ounces. This one is 8.1 ounces, so it's a little heavier to carry, but not as heavy as others. So the Work Pro, for example, 9.5. So it's a bit lighter than the Work Pro in that sense. And to me, the value here was to learn, can you make a multi-tool if you don't have really precision stuff or work? And I think you can. You can use this type of locks to get something somewhat functionally with a little spring there. I already experimented with some 3D printed prototypes using that system. So that's kind of what's in the Gerber, or in some clones of the Gerber suspension. So basically you can do a movement. Other tools do it a little more precise, but there always is a bit of wobble, so it is secure in that sense, but not it doesn't feel super like high quality or anything. So that's my experience with this. I think this works, but it is very cheap, and I don't have questions about the durability. Probably to me it's more a curiosity to investigate different technologies. This may be interesting for modding, for fun, because there's so much space here. As long as you copy those profiles, you could make your own versions of the implements. So maybe it could be a way to experiments on the cheap. So I wanted to share, and thank you for watching.